in self-preservative politics.
Let's extrapolate now and link up this with politics, talking about the Trump threat. What does it mean to the APC's Muslim ticket?
The APC Muslim ticket in 2023, when it bettered itself, the clear message from the president, then the candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was it's a strategic gamble designed to mop up as much vote from across the north and even beyond as much as possible. That means we have no intention of weaponizing religion or elevating one faith over the other. Or we look at the geography of power. That is the argument, not mine. You have a minority Muslim in the south. That's Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is a Muslim of the north-southwest extraction. We don't really know the percentage of Christian and Muslims there. Experts can tell us that. But the entire southeast and the entire south side are predominantly Christian. That means it's a gross minority in the south. For them to have a minority in the north with a minority in the south would be a gross disadvantage. So they have to have a minority in the south and a majoritarian candidate of a majoritarian faith in the north, where the Muslims are more in the north than Christians. That's why they claim they went for that ticket. Not because there is any attempt for Islamic supremacy or for Islamic militancy to take hold in the country and grow in leaps and bounds.
But the perception.
Now, that's the argument. But that's not the way people perceive it. That's not the narrative out there. The narrative out there is that this is just a weapon to clobber the rest of the country down and to shove it down the throat of non-Muslims that we are in charge. And the president catastrophically adopted that mindset. Now with the pressure coming from outside, and known as a person like Donald Trump, the American president, the dilemma is very clear for the APC to grapple with. Do we sustain this Muslim ticket with the heated noise about Christian genocide in the north? Or do we then now placate that community by bringing a Christian running mate? Only the APC can answer that question, not me.
Are you worried or bothered that sectarian crisis, whatever name, of any kind in the country has lingered this long without seeming solution in sight?
I'm bothered because in a sense, I'm some sort of a conflict expert. Not because I trained originally in the area of peace practice or conflict studies, but because I led a presidential team for 8 years in managing internal conflict in Nigeria. Therefore, I worked with critical stakeholders, both state and non-state actors, including international development partners and embassies, diplomatic missions, and multilateral organizations. The World Bank, the EU, the USAID, when it was very much in force, the British DFID, and so on, a concert of civil society groupings. In this institute that we created in 2002 or 3, what we call the Strategic Conflict Assessment Document, from where, as I told you, extrapolated the Presidential Implementation Committee headed by Tiku then, at the highest level of government. So I thought that given the kind of work we did, the conflict analysis, the conflict research, the early warning, scheme, both at the local levels and at the national level as a hub. Because the idea is to have the continental mechanism feed into the regional community like ECOWAS and into the nation state, early warning and early response mechanism. We had all that in mind 2001, 2002. That's 24 years ago. So if that pace has been sustained across this immense historical time, almost quarter of a century, possibly the answer to your question would be no, we will not be suffering this kind of mess we are suffering today. But because sometimes these governments are distracted, they pursue different things that suit their self-interest, not the collective interest of the people. Sometimes they don't have any holistic approach to conflict management. Sometimes the method they deploy will not be suitable to our own environment. I'll give you an example. Traditional methods of managing conflict have not been really elevated the way it should be. Secondly, it took a long battle to even mainstream the multi-door court system. Remember the multi-door court system, where you have the door of litigation, the door of mediation, the door of conciliation, the door of negotiation, the call of arbitration. It took a long time. Lawyers were feeling under threat. If we do all this multi-door, our job will be buried. Now the lawyers are the ones driving it. That means if you try litigation, it doesn't work. Try arbitration, try negotiation, try conciliation. This is, for me, the breadth of this conversation. There's another thing we call transitional justice mechanism. Is it working in the north when they have a deconfliction, from deconfliction to de-radicalization to reintegration? Is it working? You have other issues called restorative justice. How do we sit down with the victim and offender in the healing process, where you can now reconcile your differences, heal the community, restore peace? You see how the breadth and contours of these tools are, especially non-kinetic tools, because no matter how powerful the kinetic arsenal you may have, you can only suppress an environment for a short period of time. it will rear up its ugly head. I mean, the conflict situation there. But if you have the non-kinetic tools, how do you mobilize citizens? How do you gather intel? How do you weaponize intelligence? How do you do early warning evaluation? How do you do early response? How do you look at traditional justice mechanisms? How do you look at traditional methods of conflict management? These are the more, and how do you do multi-track, and multi-tiered conflict management? The one from the state, the one from non-state actors, international community, all in a mix. This government particularly is intellectually challenged. This government is intellectually bankrupt. This president, like I said, with his team, are committed only to coming to power again in 2027. That is why their mindset is take the parties out of the way, destroy PDP if we can, take away Labour Party if we can, be the only sole person standing, make a leisure re-entry in 2027 and easy, take. But again, in doing so, whether you fail or not is not even important. What are the consequences for this kind of precipitate action to the head of the country? The Donald Trump challenge and the guns are blazing seem to be a reminder that the more we distract ourselves from the urgent matters of the day, the more the rest of the world will recommit our attention to those matters.